What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Four Good Brothers, Changing the Narrative. I am Fred James, and I'm here with my brothers. Brother Lavelle, I was going to say Minister Lavelle, but y'all get to know Lavelle as we move forward, as well as my bro Stefan, and then my other brother, my left hand to my left side, Kev. Come on, get some Kev. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, no. But we're excited to have you guys here, and to be, just tuning in. The whole point of this is to, like I said, changing the narrative. Four good brothers being able to express some things from the male's point of view. Not saying that we're always right, and not saying that we're wrong either, but also being able to have a platform for us to speak on our viewpoint. So therefore, all things can be heard, and we can have open discussions. So as we move forward, you guys will be able to, in the future, to watch us on YouTube and comment, send us messages, email, those kind of things, and we'll be able to have dialogue with you guys and moving forward. Is that all right? All right. Amen. So now we're going to kick it off with an out-the-box question, and that's coming from our wonderful producer, Miss Miranda.
M Smooth.
M Smooth. I like that.
And just to give you some clarification, these out-of-the-box questions will come in between these podcasts every now and then, just as an out-the-box question, just something that might come from you all, might come from one of us, might come from our producer. Our producer is in the back. So you never know what these questions are. It's just going to be an out-of-the-box question, and we're going to answer them and give you our whole honest opinion on whatever the question is. So you will be seeing that more and more in the episodes. Okay, go ahead, Miranda.
Sure. My out-of-the-box question, Spotify or Apple Music? What is your preference?
Oh, that's easy for me. Apple Music.
All day.
Even though you gotta, because I don't even know if you gotta subscribe to Spotify. I know it got commercials. I don't like that. I'd rather just pay for Apple Music. I can usually find everything I need. Maybe because I'm brainwashed by Apple at this point, but yeah, that's easy for me. Apple Music.
Never even tried Spotify. It's Apple Music.
Not that we wouldn't try. If they were going to be a sponsor.
Spotify can sway me away, but it's Apple Music because that's what the teenager installed on all the gadgets.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's it for you too?
Yeah, I'm Apple Music all day, man. Specifically just being a musician and a singer. Pretty much Apple products are used in most studios, so it's easier just to have that, Plus, I don't like paying for everything, too. Don't get me wrong, I pay for Apple Music, but, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see. I'm Spotify.
And what you also will find out, people, is that Lavelle is very polar opposite of
Yes. I'm Spotify. I can't stand Apple Music with a passion. I've tried,
What
and
Apple Music do you?
it just doesn't. I don't like the system. I don't like the presentation of it. Spotify is very simple.
Presentation ain't a cake.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you.
I don't like it. Spotify Premium, I got my whole family on there. It's very nice. Find everybody just like Apple Music. My podcast, I'm sure it's just like Apple Music too. But Spotify is amazing, and I love it. So I'm sticking with Spotify.
That's all right.
There we go.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I wonder.
Let us know what y'all think. Spotify, Apple Music.
Yeah, let us know. Or if there's something else, was it Pandora?
Yeah, I think that's
Pandora, they sell bracelets.
What is each group member's expectation and what they want people to get out of our podcast? Let's start with you, Lavelle. So what's the expectation and what would you like people to get out of Four Good Brothers Changing the Narrative?
Well, I think the expectation is just, as Fred had mentioned earlier, and as our name says, it's Four Good Brothers. So it's four of us with all different perspectives. Some might line up with each other, but it's going to be four different perspectives. And the expectation is that men can get along, especially black men, together. and we can respectfully disagree or agree on certain things and topics and still be fine and still be cool. And I think that's one of the expectations we want, that it is okay to have dialogue and conversation with some people that you all know, your friends, your family, your brothers, your sisters. And it's okay if you disagree in a respectable way. So that's, I think, one of the expectations. And what I'm looking out of this, was that the other part where I'm looking at? Yeah, just that. And I'm just looking forward to all of the topics that will be discussed. And just for y'all to get to know us a little bit more. I can't wait for that, and just for the topics, because we will talk about topics from in-house to out-house. And what I mean by that is like from personal things to celebrity things to different things that's going on in our society, maybe even the world. So you will get a taste of almost every flavor. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So, Stefan, what's your perspective, bro?
As you can see from the Apple Spotify question, the biggest thing is, to Lavelle's point, is showing an example of men, black men, getting a conversation out there, disagreeing, showing people how to respectfully disagree. In the near future, there will be some controversial topics. There will be some topics that the four of us will not agree on, and will have strong opinions on. But that also should be a leaping off standpoint for you to have conversations with your own friend group, your peer group, or if it's not too controversial, even somebody at work, and exposing them to something different. We're not putting ourselves in a box. It's for good brothers. We all happen to be for African American brothers, but the real message of this is for men to expand. I know Fred likes to say, have a safe place to talk about some things. So for me, I'm just looking forward to the dialogue, and once it gets good, just looking for the controversy. Controversy is what it is, and you have to be able to talk about things that are uncomfortable. So that's my 2 cents. Kev?
Nah, well said. I completely agree. I think for me and for us, just having the opportunity to create a brave and a safe space for men to have open dialogue about things that may be deemed controversial. I look at controversy in crisis situations as like a learning experience. A wise man, hopefully we get him on the show pretty soon. He always says there's never a good time to have a tough conversation. It's always good posture, and that's what I look forward to, having those conversations. There's a lot of misconceptions around men and what we think, how we think, what we feel, and I think this is a great space for us to address some of those things and be transparent and honest in it. Because if you're not, that's where communication breaks down. So just having an open dialogue around that is what I look forward to.
Well, I guess that leaves me, which will lead us into our next thing, actually. So I'll say my end of it. So, as Stefan said earlier, man, it's having a safe place for men. But also, I think it's important that when we're talking about changing the narrative, there's so many things. And this is also a discussion that we will have in the future. It's not to take away women's empowerment or anything like that, but I think a lot of times that as men, our voice is silenced in certain areas. The reason that I say that is because there's pros and cons to it all. You have men who are not good fathers who, what's the word I want to say? I'm saying born, but that's not the right word. They have children, they create children, but they don't take care of them. So you have women in the households or in the church, all these type of things, even in business, where the women have to step up for the lack of a man's presence not being there, a true man. But then at the same time, sometimes that can go wayward when she's been doing this so long, and then a good brother comes along, right? But she doesn't really know what that really looks like, per se. because everything else that she's seen or dealt with has been bad. So what tends to happen is there's a belief that there's no good brothers out here. Or it's spoken of, that men, we don't have feelings or we don't think about issues, but then we never have discussion about, what prompted that man to feel that way, or what prompted him to digress, or, it's always for every action there's a reaction. And so that's my perspective, on it, of why, what I'm looking forward to with our podcast, man. And so therefore we can give our point of view. And again, it's not to say that we're right, but I'm definitely telling you that it's not to say that we're wrong either. I think there is pros and cons to everything, and there's nothing wrong with having a conversation and pushing conversation. So therefore, we as men and women and just people in general, whether it's for black men, like Stefan said, all men, there's never, like Kev said, with our good friend, I know who he's talking about, and I'm not going to mention his name because I just want to surprise everybody with that. But it's important that people are heard. Kev has said many things before about a person wanting to be seen or to be heard. That's really what our people look for. You don't have to admit that person is right or they're wrong, but they just want to be heard. And if we can do that and having conversation, even if it's a heated conversation, but respectfully still being able to listen to one another, to get each other's perspective and put each other first and put each other in each other's shoes, then I think we can move forward. But that's just the Fred way. I understand that life is not perfect, but we'll get there though. Next, it says, how did we get here, or how did we get together? Well, that's all on me. Praise the good Lord. I believe that, and you guys will learn that about us. First and foremost, let me express this so Lavelle doesn't have to say it, because I know he will. We are all four men who have a belief in God, and we love God. You will find out other things about us. You will find that me and Lavelle are both called to ministry. Stefan, he's married to a pastor. Kev is a PK, just like I am. So first and foremost, I want to get that out of the way. So when I say this, I want to make it clear. We believe in God and we're going to stand on that, but we also real men too. So I don't want that to be, is that cool for me saying that? Okay.
Yeah, I don't want that to get lost.
Okay, so I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle. So when it says, how do we get together, to give you a little insight. I believe God has blessed me with the ability to put together what I would call to be dynasties. I believe that. And so I've known Kev over 15 years. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, over 15 years. I met Lavelle probably maybe 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I was at Rose Chapel. Shout out to Rose Chapel, Bishop Mark Flagg and Rose Chapel Baptist Church here in Cincinnati and Avondale. And Lavelle was a guest preacher. He was coming to preach, and I was the worship pastor there. And that was my first encounter with Lavelle. Lavelle came and preached, and he sang. And me being who I am at that point, the same person now, he sang, opened his mouth, and I said, oh, this fool can wobble. Okay, cool. And then me and Lavelle spoke then, and then found out that he had, we knew the same people. Of course, we in the same gospel community circle, or young preachers and stuff like that. And then, long story short, I come to find out that Kev knows Lavelle, and that was something that was uncommon to me, because I know Kev. But Kev knows a plethora of people, but Lavelle is somebody that Kev directly hangs with. So I'm like, I just hadn't been around when Lavelle was around. So when I saw that, I said, oh, Lavelle's got to be that kind of guy. He's got to be solid. So that merger happened through Kev even more. Like, I knew Lavelle, but through Kev is how me and Lavelle came together. Then Stefan, I met Stefan through my ex-wife, whom I'm cool with. Yes, you almost know. I met him through her and his wife, who is the pastor of the church that I attend, Chosen Ministries, out here at 30 Triangle Park Drive, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Plug.
Yeah, I'm plugging it in there. But I realized that I've been through many things in my life. My friend circle is very small when it comes to guys. Men, in my opinion, not saying that I'm right, but I have felt that men tend to be my friend, but they covet what I have or who I am. I'm not saying I'm right. It's just my feeling. And so when things go wayward, I never am able to have a hard-hitting conversation where I can knuckle up and not fight, but I'm saying bump heads with them, but still smooth the surface out and have a conversation. So through Stefan, I felt that he was the same person that I was when we first started chopping it up. So I gravitated to that. And so Stefan became my bro. And likely, you know, Stefan comes from that background, but it's not a lot of guys that he don't rock with inside the church, especially with him being, you know, married to a pastor. So it was just a perfect fit. So we were talking about going out of town. We wanted to get us a guy's trip to go. And I'd already told one of my closest friends, Kev, over 15 years about it, and Lavelle knew. We were talking about going out of town. I told Stefan. We tried to invite some other cats. Just fell through the cracks. I had already had this vision for do a podcast, but I didn't know that it was going to be with other people. I just thought it was going to be me. I had tried to talk to other people about it, and somehow it would always fumble out there about, you know, it would become more church than anything, because those guys that I'm talking to, and they're my closest, some of my closest friends. Shout out to Michael and Ryan and Corey, all that, you know. But it would always fumble out to be more church. And David, you know, it would fumble out to be more church than just man talk, right? And me, the place that I'm in my life, well, at the time, which I still am, I wanted just to have open conversation. Like when we get together for birthdays, or the fellas just get together and we go to the cigar lounge, or we go to what's Kev restaurant like? What's that? Cheesecake Factory. Kev loves Cheesecake Factory. So we go to Cheesecake, and all the guys get together and we just kick it, and we just chop it up. And so I needed that, and I needed to get out of town. I remember telling Stefan, I gotta get out of town. I told Kev told Lavelle. Now I talked to Lavelle, and we got it all squared away on the time. And this was gonna be the first time that Stefan was meeting Kev and Lavelle. I knew Lavelle was neutral. Kev was the one that was not neutral. Kev was like, I ain't gonna say all that, but Kev was like, who is this dude? I don't know. I ain't really comfortable with it. But I told Kev, and my relationship with Kev is my brother. Kev takes me at my word. So when I met Stefan, cool, bro. Straight up. Stefan said the same thing. He's like, I don't know them. Who is they? But because of you, Freddie J, I'm rocking with you. And I say, Stefan, you and Kev more alike than anything, for real. And so we all met, driving down to Gatlinburg, and that's when it really hit me. Like, oh, this is the squad for the podcast. And so I shot the shot at everybody about what was in my head, and everybody was down for it, which was perfect, because me and Kev have been talking about for years, trying to figure out a platform for things that we do, because me and Kev have similar work history backgrounds and stuff. And then, you know, also not Lavelle, but Stefan moving into that, you know, in the future and things like that. So it's just a perfect fit. And, you know, Lavelle brings the balance of everybody. That's really my vision. That's what I believe. So everybody fits, you know what I mean? Everybody has their thing. I mean, you know, we got preachers and we got worldly men.
Thank you.
Say now, I was joking, but no, it's like Lavelle said, it's a different perspective. Yeah, you know, it's the perfect blend here, and you know, for Good Brothers, because again, like I said, you don't know Lavelle until you get to talk to him. You could assume about Stefan. You know, you'll find that Stefan, like I said, we'll go into those things and they can explain who they are. But just for me giving a perspective, you know, you'll find that Stefan, you'll realize talking to him, he's business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where he at. But you gotta have more conversation with him. Yeah, he ain't that quick to open up. You gotta rub elbows with him. Kev is the same way as Stefan. Kev ain't about to open up unless he know you. You know what I'm saying? And he got to rub elbows with you. So I think it's a perfect balance, man. So hopefully, here on this pod, man, whether it's through audio or on video, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever platforms we putting this on, and after we, go through these things and make sure that these are the platforms we want to be on, man, I personally believe, we all believe that you'll enjoy our perspective and what we're bringing to the table. It's not to compete with another podcast, but it's also to put something out there that is not being put out there. And that's what we need to do. We need to change the narrative and allow a man's voice to really be heard, but not just be talking about gimmicky stuff. We want to hit hard-hitting facts, hard-hitting issues, and hear our perspective. And you'll see multiple guests come on here, women, men, whoever, whatever subjects is. Trust and believe. Us four are those kind of guys. We gonna give it to you raw. So that's how we got together, man. What was it? Kev gave me another question, y'all. So oh, it's a good one. We're gonna start with Stefan. That's what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna start with Stefan. What does it mean? What does being a man mean to you?
First and foremost, a man that he takes care of his own. So, family first, friends, community, standing up, doing what's right, setting an example, and also leaving some sort of a legacy. Being born a male does not make you a man.
Ooh.
That's the deepest part that you get into it. A man always takes care of his household, wife, kids, sometimes mother, father, aunt, uncle. There's all kind of perspectives that if you really want to call yourself a man, in my eyes, you have to walk down that path. Be here all day. I'm not gonna hog the what is a man thing for me, because there are a lot of examples that I have to what a man is not. I just give you my favorite one. So you're not a man. The Gucci, Louis Prada, your kids don't have Gucci, Louis Prada. You're not a man.
Wow.
To me. With your child's mother or not, the child be in a certain place, which sometimes it is what it is, affords that female certain luxuries. It's one you gotta take on the chin as a man, in my personal opinion. So I know we'll have more dialogue on this one, but I don't want to hog everything up.
Now, you said something that hit hard for me. That was being born a male doesn't make you a man. I think that's something that's very low-key profound. I think people need to deep dive into that and what that actually means. I think being a man is multifaceted. It's several things. I think first, being a man is the legacy that you leave, and I think that what that means is, in my belief and philosophy, is it's not, being a man isn't the amount of money you make, but it's about the lives you touch, and that's sensitive for some people, right? Because some people equate being a man to the amount of money you make, because that's what some women have made that person believe, and the money is equivalent to your value. And that's a whole nother thing that we'll get into, I'm sure, a different time, because I got stuff to say about that.
Can I interject one
Yeah,
thing?
I know you got stuff.
It's not the amount of money you make, it's how you use the resources that you have.
Use it, everything around you should be a tool and a resource to break down generational barriers and cycles for your family.
Shaka.
So, I think that's part of it.
I agree with you, people get that twisted.
Yeah, that's different.
It's people doing more with $50,000 than people are doing with $500,000.
Priorities, and culturally, where have you learned those priorities from, and how much damage are women doing to men when it comes to your priorities? So I think that whole conversation there with the first thing, well, not the first thing, but when women say you broke, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't understand the monster that you're creating.
Ooh.
For real, like you don't understand what you've done and
Hey.
the monster that you're creating.
Mm.
Cause that monster is gonna come back to bite you.
Words have power, y'all.
Words have power.
They do.
Whole nother pod.
Yep, I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
I'm holding on to it.
But I'm gonna help you out for the whole nother pod.
Alright.
This is, we probably gonna talk about the type of women that you've been or chasing. But Lavelle, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, last thing too,
Yeah.
and I think that being a man is probably the opposite of what most people believe manhood is or manhood is.
I can't
When
wait.
you talk about like being vulnerable, being able to express your emotions, and being empathetic, and being loving, and your love being transcended, those are all things in our culture that usually aren't
Yeah.
equivalent to being what a man is. And I think that's what it should be.
And we're seeing that
Mm-hmm.
now.
Ooh, I get it.
We're seeing that now in our society. At least they're trying to change that narrative of that. So, but that's good. That's good. That's good. I echo both of these men's words on what a man is, and I think the only thing I'm going to add on top of that is you spiritually covered them too. You are the head. You are the head, and you cover your family spiritually too. So, because if you ain't walking right in the spirit, how can you?
And there are people in the church that also use that to manipulate.
Absolutely.
That's not what Lavelle's talking about.
Exactly. I'm not. And that's a whole nother topic.
Do what I say because I'm a man.
Yeah.
But if that is your idea of a man and you using the Bible to manipulate what a man is, then that makes you even less of a man.
Yeah, I'm not.
And that's not what he's talking about.
No, absolutely not. I'm talking about the covering spiritually, and praying and covering your family and making sure and being responsible for your family as that. So I would add all of that to it, and I totally agree with just because you are male does not make you a man either. And I think a lot of us can answer that as well and agree to that.
So, I knew it was coming. That was good. I like that. So I'm gonna give my portion as we close. I'm gonna read something. I was actually asked to do men's Bible study here at my church at Chosen, and so I'm gonna read a little bit of what I wrote. If that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll understand my view. It says, I know we are living in a day when the importance of men has been downgraded and has been reduced, and in some places totally removed. Appropriate masculinity is gone, unappreciated and undervalued, but God is still calling men to rise to a whole new level. Remember, God asked Adam a fundamental question. He says, Adam, where are you? I like to see Adam, where are you at? Because the whole future of civilization will be keyed in and filling your God-designed reason for why you're here. God created and God-given role. So when I say that to say, piggybacking off what Stefan said, you're not a man just because you were born with a genitalia of a man. You're a man when you, and I'm just putting it out here again, that's who we are. So you're not a man unless you're a kingdom man, first and foremost. I believe there are good brothers out here who take care of their children. They work, provide for their households. All those different things are great. That's what, shall I say, characteristic or qualities of a good guy is. But until you know who you are in God and line that up, all the good things that you do really make no sense. They make sense, but they don't really have any weight. I will put it that way. That's me.
So is that more like why or what's your purpose?
Yeah, because, so I say that because when you go back in the beginning, Adam knew who he was. The question is, well, why did Adam know who he was? Adam knew who he was because the Bible says that he walked with God in the cool of the day. So that means that God told Adam exactly what his job was, and he carried that out. He had someone, a father, who deemed him man. You get what I'm saying? It's that bar mitzvah vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying that is to say, because there's a lot of men that don't have fathers, right? But they had a grandfather or they had an uncle, right? But until ultimately understanding who your true father is, that's when you become a man.
Once you reach a certain age, regardless of all circumstances, where does self-accountability lie? I'll give you this example, because being from the neighborhood, any neighborhood, we'll go back, take it as simple, take it to boys in the hood. You got Ricky and you got Doughboy. Same house,
Yep,
single mom,
yep.
everything. Pursuing college in the streets. Had this conversation with a lot of people. Some point, especially as a man, you have to take accountability outside of your circumstances. You choose to take that accountability and you choose what direction to go in. Because there's too many, we focus on, as the world I think is programming us, and we even on here, you focus on the bad that comes out of it. But then when you listen to CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, C-suite level people who came from the inner cities, single parents, drug infested, both of them, fending for themselves since they was little kids. But somehow within that, which us being spiritual people, we're gonna say it was God that was put inside of them. But one of the problems with where I say the difference between being born a male and being a man, number one comes accountability within yourself.
Right.
That's number one. Because all those situations, it's always two sides to every coin. And every single one of them situations, you see it all the time. My biggest thing would be sometimes when you meet people and you don't know they're related because you meet them separately. And then, kind of like you found these two, it's just kind of like, who your brother? Huh? And sometimes it gets so deep you don't ask, y'all got the same mama and daddy?
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets that deep.
Right.
But because somebody has chosen a certain path, and there can be polar opposites. All the genetics, scientifically, are 100% the same.
Mm-hmm.
Same house, same mama, same dad.
I think
same
that's
mom.
tough for people to swallow because you're talking about something that you can't quantify. It's a level, it's accountability and it's will.
Mhm.
You can't quantify willpower. You
And
can, you can quantify social economic status. You can quantify the people in your household. When you talk about level of resilience and willpower
Yeah.
and accountability, that's something that's hard for people to grasp because the other things outside of that are used as an excuse. Like, yo, we grew up in the same household. I made a decision real young. I remember the day it happened. It was when I was 7. Like, this isn't gonna be the embodiment of who I am.
To close out, man, we just want to, we thank everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Be on the lookout for this new pod, Four Good Brothers, Changing the Narrative. We gonna hit some hard hitting stuff. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of laughs. And we're gonna put real things into perspective, like Lavelle said, on men honestly being able to sit at the table to agree and to disagree respectfully and still being cordial and being friends, and you know what I'm saying, and hopefully it's something that you guys that are tuning in or listening, however it's through audio or video, something that you'll take away. That's really what we ultimately want. It's not just for men. We want to reach out to other men and change the narrative and become more vocal in our schools, in our communities, in churches, in our government. You know what I mean? The positive things, not trying to push agendas, but pushing the right thing. And you know, and those understanding that everybody has their own opinions on things, and if we can sit down and speak with those people and just understand where they're coming from, you know, maybe we can, bridge the gap a little bit. But yeah, man. So again, thank you for tuning in. to Four Good Brothers, changing the narrative. And we'll be back at you soon. Peace.
See ya.
Keep Hope alive. Get Spotify.